Peace be with you. Well, it's nice. We're slowly stepping through this long farewell discourse of Jesus from John chapter 14, 15, and 16. And so we just pick up right where we left off yesterday and the day before. And we're, as we've said before, seeing a lot of repeating from John. And this is a good, basically a teaching style to repeat. He wants us to get it. So he's telling us these truths in different ways, different perspectives, and keeps coming back around the same thing. So this is not the first time he has said, "This is my commandment." Love one another as I love you. He's just repeating it and trying to drive it home. And so every time he does, we have to drive home the deeper meaning of what this is saying. Everything he has commanded us comes down to this one commandment: love one another as I love you. And we broke this open decently last Sunday, and we've commented on it since then, but continuing to remember the word love here is always agape. The same love that God says he has for us and that he asks us to have for him and for one another is always agape love. Self-sacrificial, life-giving, unconditional, no strings attached love. You could just summarize it if it's easier for you, just to say unconditional, no strings attached love. That's love. Anytime you say and, if, or, but, then that's not agape love. And agape love is always one way. I'm not loving you because you're loving me. I'm loving you because I'm loving you. That's just agape love. Whether you say thank you or not, I'm agape. I'm not loving you for the thank you. And so we have to keep building this mindset, because this is the mind of Christ, this kind of love. He gives us another example, Jesus in his words here, of what agape love is. Self-sacrificial, unconditional, no strings attached, divine, unlimited. When he says, lay down one's life. So agape love is lay down your life kind of love. You can tell if you're loving like Jesus if you're laying down your life. Now, Jesus says it here. I don't know about you, but I always tend to read it one way, but it's really two ways. And Jesus says, no one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. And so we know Jesus laid down his life for us because he calls us friends. But because he calls us friends, it also means we have to lay down our life for him. We're not just friends. Jesus is not just my friend because he died for me. He's my friend if I die for him. It has to be, it's a two-way friendship. And so when we see that, we have to always remember two ways. Now, how are you and I going to lay down our life for Jesus today? Because the church, every Friday, the church asks us to sacrifice something, do some kind of penance, some kind of self-denial. In the old times, it used to be you always give up meat on Fridays. But, the church said, well, time for you to grow up. You want to be treated like an adult, so we'll treat you like an adult, and you get to come up with your own sacrifice, your own penance. And how many people just threw penance out the window after that, You can still choose meat. You and I need to choose something, some way where we're being intentional every Friday about laying down our life for Jesus, who laid down his life and died on a Friday for us. So how are you and I going to lay down our life for Jesus and have self-denial practiced today in an intentional way? And we always have to remember, as Christians, we do not exercise penance or self-denial for the sake of just penance and self-denial. We're not like Buddhists or Hindus or any people like that trying to just grow in a self-control. That's one of the benefits of practicing self-denial. But we deny ourselves so that Jesus can be seen more. We deny our self-life so we can live his life more. This is summarized very beautifully by John the Baptist when people came, his disciples ran up to him and said, oh, that guy Jesus, you baptized, people are going to him now to be baptized in his disciples instead of us, He's getting more disciples than we are. And Jesus responded, he said, or John the Baptist responded, and he said, he must increase, and I must decrease. This is how you and I know if we're actually practicing Christian self-denial and Christian penance. Does the penance, does the self-denial, does the sacrifice cause my life to decrease so that the life of Christ increases? So when people see my self-denial, do they see Jesus in his life more clearly? If they don't, then my self-denial is not Christian. It's self-denial, it's a penance, it's asceticism, but there's tons of religions that practice that. What makes Christianity different is that when I deny myself, it's so that my life is less, so I can live his life more. This is what Paul teaches us as well. So when we say today, how are we going to practice love and love for Jesus, is how are we going to lay down our life so that his life can be lived more fully today. That's true Christian penance and self-denial. How will you and I today choose intentionally to lay down our life so we're living our life less, our desires, our wants, our routine less, so that the life of Christ is lived more. So when somebody sees our self-denial, they see Jesus more and us less.